Okay, welcome back, guys. It's Pac Rob again, and we're going to continue the Chris Watts video analysis. This is his interview with Denver 7 News. So let's get going again.
Up to. What was she going for? It was a Thrive direct sales. It was a local event that was down there between a bunch of leaders in the company.
Okay, so now he's pursing his lips, as well as rocking back and forth, and as well as crossing his arms. You can see, so he's doing a lot of tells for many people that they're being, dishonest. I mean, none of this stuff is guaranteed to be true, but it's a very bad sign when you're doing all of these tells at once. It looks like, from a body analysis, that he's, not being truthful.
That day she was back.
I left work early that morning, like 5:15, 5:30. So like she barely got into bed pretty much.
This might be a tough question.
So I believe he says there she had barely gotten into bed when he left around 5 something in the morning. According to, I believe, the other news reports that I've seen, and what her friend was saying, because her friend was the one who called the cops, I believe. Her friend, he mentioned earlier. And I think the friend said that she dropped her off around 2 a.m. in the morning from the airport. So he's saying she just barely got into bed at 5 something in the morning, whereas the friend is saying she dropped her off 2 hours. So that's a 3-hour difference. So that, that's a discrepancy in the story as far as her arrival to the house. But, obviously being there 3 hours already is not just barely getting in the door.
Did you guys get into an argument before?
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that. But
so they just asked him if they had an argument that day. He says they had a, quote, an emotional conversation. And this is a term that he uses a lot. I think he uses it in the police interrogation as well. He just calls it an emotional conversation. I believe they were about to get divorced, or were in the process of getting divorced, or something like that. I'd have to double check that. But I believe they were either arguing a lot recently, or they were in the process of getting divorced, or they actually were, they had just filed for divorce. But yeah, he describes their conversation as being emotional, and emotional can mean a lot of things. That can mean crying, it can mean screaming. Emotion can come in different forms, as far as sadness, anger, surprise, etc. So you don't really know what that means. That's a very vague statement, and a lot of times when people are lying, they'll do vague statements like that.
I just want them back. I just want them to come back.
Yeah, there he is again, smiling, laughing now even about his missing children. And again, he already knows they're dead, so he's smiling knowing that he killed his whole family. I believe he stuffed their bodies at his job into some sort of container or something like that. And so he is smiling and laughing, knowing all these facts, and that's like really super sick as far as, how he can do that.
And if they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Because if they are safe, they're coming back. But if they're not, this has got to stop. Like, somebody has to come forward.
And then he's giving these extra details about, well, if they're safe, they're coming back. If they're not safe, then they're not coming back. And, he knows they're not coming back. So he's kind of like qualifying. He's kind of like saying to the reporter, like there's a chance they might not be coming back, even though he knows that's definite that they're not coming back, because he already knows he's killed them.
Yeah, they've been in constant contact, like, every hour. I mean, everybody back in North Carolina and the East Coast. I mean, from Maine to Florida.
Was
Just like,
I'm not sure what he's talking about there. He might have been talking about other family members in other states and stuff. Took place in Colorado.
like if they need to get on a flight, just let them know, because I mean they feel helpless right now because they're on the opposite side of the country. I mean,
Okay, yeah, he must be talking about family members that have been notified of his wife's and kids' disappearance, and how they're probably freaking out about it.
Colorado is, I mean,
And it's interesting that he mentions that because he's clearly not freaking out. People handle stress in different ways. That's definitely true, but in many cases, even if you're stressed out and you don't show it as far as uncontrollable crying and stuff like that, you're likely to show more signs of stress than this guy. He actually looks very nonchalant, other than all his nervous tics. And I think that's just because, he's talking to the reporter about this situation where he knows he's killed a bunch of people, and he's nervous about that. So he's nervous about that, but he's not nervous about his family being missing. That part, he doesn't seem to care at all. He's nervous about if he's gonna get caught.
you can't just drive around and look. I mean, it's just like you wouldn't really know what you're looking for. That's what the cops pretty much told me. That first day, I was like, I want to get out and drive around this. You wouldn't know what to look for.
Last couple of questions. What is law enforcement
So we got another zoom in on his face here. Let's see.
sheriffs or your neighbors?
Okay, so he's doing some lip licking there. Dry mouth can sometimes indicate nervousness as well. We'll see if he continues that, but he hasn't done too much of that. He's been pretty good with the eye contact, and I think he's been pretty good as far as not licking his lips a lot, but keep an eye.
Right now, this is what they're doing right now is with the canines in the sense. I think this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing they've done so far because yesterday the Federal Police Department did all the searching of the house and tried to gather whatever information they could.
And, this guy, I believe he dumped their bodies, as I mentioned earlier, at his job, and I'm like, this guy's not too smart because that's a really dumb idea. I mean, if your whole family is discovered dead at your job, that looks really bad on you. So, I mean, like, he's already kind of a person of interest because, like, I think in most murder cases, it's somebody the person knows who kills them, and a lot of times it's family members or close, friends and stuff. Close people in close contact with the person. So, this guy is her husband, and especially a husband where she's, about to divorce. He is already, person of interest number one, as far as the cops are concerned. And, when they get to the point of they start looking at suspects, he's already on top of their list automatically. They're going to be they're going to be looking to, investigate him and see what he's up to get him cleared probably first out of anybody.
And with the detectives, officers, and sergeants, and today it's, I mean, obviously with all the activity that's around, it's.
He said earlier about detectives, officers, sergeants. He says that a few times, I believe, to the investigators as well when he's talking to the detectives about it. It's kind of an interesting thing. He always mentions them, in that order. He mentions all the different, ranks of cops and stuff, so it's kind of odd.
There's a lot going on around here, and I really hope that all of this can lead to something positive.
What did your neighbors, did they see anything?
No, like the police department went door to door asking, like, cameras and everything, just like nothing.
Okay, so he talked about cameras, and so I think this interview is probably after he had the surveillance footage of his neighbor's house. Surveillance footage was looked at by him and police as well. So this is probably after that point.
Last question. If you have any, last question. If your wife can see this, she she keep watching these. What would you have to do?
More swaying going on.
And Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house.
Okay, so he closes his eyes there when he says, "I need to see everybody." That kind of, shows some doubt in his mind. Like, he knows he's not going to see them. Let me see.
Complete.
He's doing it
Please
there
bring her
again.
back. I need to see everybody. I need to see
Yeah, see right there.
everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
Okay, and then more pursing of the lips, more swaying, as you can see, indicating nervousness.
Let's hope that mic off.
Okay,
Chris Watts.
so that's the Chris Watts analysis. Yeah, this guy's guilty of sin. He later confessed to it, so he, admitted that he did it. But it's interesting to go back and see him before he had done that, and just to see, how he was lying to the police and whatnot. But yeah, he definitely did it, and so that was the Chris Watts analysis of the news report for Denver 7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.